The thing I appreciate most about my dad as I think back is he always reminded me when it was Mom's birthday or Mother's Day or something, and quite often he would buy me the card and say, hey, sign this and make sure your mom gets it. It really helped. I certainly appreciated that.
What I really loved about my dad was that he took us out and we did everything. We went fishing, hunting, skiing, boating, and at the end of the day, it really set me up to take advantage of Alaska. Great dad.
My dad taught me how to throw a curveball. I suffered from Little League elbow the rest of my life, so I'll never forget him.
What I remember about my dad is he taught me to love to use tools. More than that, I think that spending time with him out on the golf course was the most memorable thing. Out there, we talked man to man, and I will have to admit, he taught me some words I probably never would have known on the golf course.
So not only did my dad teach me how to drive, he also persuaded me to come and sing. Who'd have thunk? Imagine that. Love you, Dad.
My dad, I remember him teaching me how to ride a bike when I was in elementary school, and I was so nervous, and he kept saying, I'll hold on to the back of the bike. And so I finally got up enough confidence to go to the end of the street, and when I turned around, he had let go and was clear at the other end of the street, and I panicked and fell over, and he came running.
Well, I've found that the greatest pride I have in having raised some kids is when they don't know that you're around or listening to them, but you hear them complimenting things that they have learned from you, or the secondhand compliments that really count. And it makes you proud to have those kids for your own.
My dad taught me how to drive in our 84 Ford Bronco. I remember we'd go out in the back of my house, back in Wyoming on the dirt roads in the back country. He'd let me sit on his lap, and I'd drive that Bronco from ditch to ditch, avoiding the road if at all possible.
So my Uncle Tom was a cattle rancher, and he taught me an invaluable lesson in work ethics when he said, Ernie Ray, you got to learn how to do the entry-level job first, and then you move up. And with that, he handed me a pitchfork, showed me to the cow barn, and said, pitch the manure into that trailer.
My dad, when I was 16, he said he'd give me a car. So he gave me a car with a frozen-up engine. And he gave me 3 other engines. He went down to the junkyard and for $50 bought 3 more frozen-up engines. And he said, you want a car? There it is. But the best part is he helped me put it all together.
I think the most fun thing about being a dad is seeing how well your kids are doing. It's sort of a reflection of how well you did or didn't do as a parent. And it's sort of a two-edged sword, because when you're having FaceTime with your children and they drop the F-bomb, you're going like, where did they learn that? The other thing my dad taught me is anything worth doing is worth doing well. And it's made me a crazy perfectionist my whole life. So I owe that to him.
My dad taught me how to play my hands, and he said I'd be popular. I didn't realize how popular till I was sitting behind Susan Barnard in 2nd grade, and I went, and she turned around and took me out into the hall. And usually when you fight a guy, it's one punch, but she was relentless. It took me a while to come back in and live that one down.
I'm grateful for all the things my dad has taught me, and it doesn't seem to stop now as we're building this place where we'll all live in the same building together. So it never stops, the things I learn and am grateful from my dad.
One of the things that I will always cherish about my dad is him making time with me to play baseball. I can remember being in the backyard. Anytime I say, Dad, you want to go play catch? He would always say yes. He wouldn't say yes to everything I asked him to do, but anytime I said, let's go play catch, he would do that. He coached a number of the teams that I played on in Little League. He went to, I think, just about every single game I played. For baseball, he was always there, encouraging, always propping me up, always being a really positive presence in that way.
Well, something I remember about my dad, talking about if you want something done, do it yourself. The key is, if it's worth doing, do it the best you can.
Something I appreciate about my dad, he taught me not to worry. Every time we'd be in a sticky situation out on a trail or out hunting or something, he'd always tell me, you know what, if you don't worry, then you got nothing to worry about.
My dad sang tenor. At the time, it was the San Juan County Gaslight Chorus because it was a big natural gas place. They changed the name eventually. I remember going to rehearsals with him when I was like 4 or 5 or just, ridiculously small. And they would be in their semicircle rehearsing, and I would be crawling under all the chairs, knocking over all the music, and somehow they didn't toss me out of the building. It's a memory I'll always have. It's very cool.